One really common question. So this was a pretty good one. What do you do if you've forgotten your password? So this is really common on websites and stuff. And I guess really kind of what this is kind of the root of going into the email and everything. Why can't you just get the password emailed to you? Why can't you just say, send me a password? Why do you kind of have to go through this whole thing of clicking on the link that says I forgot my password, clicking on the link of reset my password, and then you get this link, and then you have to click on it, and then you have to go into the website, and then you have to reset the password. Why can't they just email you the password and you just be done with it? Well, most people don't know this. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on. I see Chris, Gabe. All right, great to see you guys on here. So most people don't know this, but believe it or not, the websites that host your passwords, they do not know your password. And I know that's pretty hard for you to believe because you're wondering, how are they able to log in if they don't know the password? Well, the passwords are encrypted in their database, and it's a one-way encryption. So how it works is this: you send your password. It does a one-way encryption, and then it stores that password in the database. So then the next time you go to log in, you put in what you believe is your password. It encrypts it the same way, and then it checks the database to see if those encrypted versions match. Now, like I say, it's a one-way encryption. They have no way to decrypt it, so they don't know your password. It's an extra layer of security that websites use. Now, you're probably familiar with whenever it's in the news that there's been a data breach, there's been a hack, there's been something like that, and the fear is, what if they get those passwords? So you're wondering, well, if they're encrypted in the database, what does it matter if they can only be encrypted one way? So this is it all comes down to security, and it all comes down to, at the end of the day, how secure is something. So are your passwords encrypted? Yes. Is encryption strong? Does encryption keep people from being able to easily read your passwords? Yes. Does encryption make your passwords 100% secure? No. Encryption can be broken, and given enough time and enough technique, somebody can crack those passwords. So all they would have to do theoretically is figure out how to reverse engineer the encryption, and given enough time, enough energy, they would be able to do that. So that's the reason why websites operate in that way. They, instead of storing the password in the database, they store an encrypted, one-way encrypted version, and then they match whatever you send to that that encrypted version in there. So it gives you an extra layer of protection, and it protects the website from actually having to store that information. That's why they can't just send you a password. That's why in most cases, like your IT tech support, your help desk support at your office or here at Advantage Technology, they don't know your password. They can't see your password in many cases. They usually just have to reset it from scratch, and that's the reason it's set up that way. It's a really good system, and it's not 100% foolproof, but 90% is better than 100% when it comes to security. So another question here: what is 2FA, and how do I use it? So 2FA is two-factor authentication. And another term for that is MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. Hey, Mike, welcome. Glad to see you on there. So what is multi-factor and two-factor authentication? So this is a security system that what it does simply is it verifies your identity with something you have and something you know. Okay? So your password is something that you know. And a phone is something that you have. Or your fingerprint is something that you have. They also have keys. These are USB dongle type devices that you can use to authenticate. Again, this is something that you have. The idea would be you would have it on your keychain or something, and if you show up somewhere, anything like a bio verification, like a retina scan, thumbprint, one of these USB keys, your phone, these types of devices, these are all multi-factor. Some other examples of multi-factor could be your IP address if you're in a certain location, your geographical location. That's somewhat common. But usually the most common, and again, the reason why they're starting to call it multi-factor authentication now, is because multi-factor authentication, it might be more than one thing. It might be more than your phone. You might need your phone plus your thumbprint plus a password, right? So you might need all those things. So that's multi-factor authentication. Two-factor would be like just your phone and your password. And that's why they're starting to move to multi-factor authentication. That's the whole purpose of all that stuff, what it's doing. And obviously, the idea behind that is, pretty simply, it's more secure. It's highly unlikely that a bad guy out there, a hacker, has your phone and your password. Is it impossible? It's certainly not impossible. That's the thing that you have to realize. Whenever you start talking about cybersecurity, the first thing that you have to realize is you have to hedge every word. There's no flawless, perfect, absolutely bulletproof way of doing anything when it comes to cybersecurity. The hackers are always out there, always doing stuff, and you just never know what they're going to be up to. If you guys have any questions, if there's anything you're running into, you can ask me live. I'm answering some emails that I got here earlier this week. I've had the event up here for a couple of for a few days here, so I've gotten a few. Should I really eject the USB/flash drive/thumb drive? Okay, so yes, absolutely yes. So what is that doing when you eject your thumb drive? So if you have an external hard drive, you have it plugged into the USB. What that does is it mounts the drive, so your operating system begins using the drive and will begin copying files back and forth to the drive, okay? When you go to eject it, what your operating system does is make sure that no applications are using that drive. So you could have a file that's being saved in the background, you could have a file that's being copied over in the background, and when you go to hit eject, it'll say, cannot eject this device at this time. So that's the idea that you want to run into. You want to make sure that you're not using that drive. You want to make sure that that drive is completely available and able to eject, and that's what that ejection does. So that's something you definitely want to do. Okay, so from Chris, what's your favorite AV EDR solution? Okay, Chris, I am not familiar with EDR acronym. You'll have to break that one down. AV is audio visual, I assume. So break down that acronym for me, Chris. It's probably something hip and trendy. I am not that hip and trendy of a guy. Let's see. Another email. Oh, antivirus. Aha. AV is antivirus. See, my head's in the AV space. So I thought you were talking about video editing. Antivirus. So the one that we recommend is Sentinel-1. That's the one that we put on most systems. When it comes to antivirus, really, there's basically two types of models, and the older model has become less and less used, okay? So the older model is the model, it's a fingerprint-based system, basically, right? So it's the idea that they take a virus and they determine, what it looks like, what the program looks like, and then if they see that same signature pop up, then they get rid of the virus. Okay, so that's kind of the traditional antivirus system. The problem with that, of course, is it's got no protection against 0-day. The viruses mutate, and by mutate just means that the hackers go out there and change a little tiny bit to it, so it's not that big of a change. And then all of a sudden the antivirus can't see it anymore. So that's kind of the old system. That's kind of the old system. The new system that they use now, what Sentinel-1 and a bunch of the other ones use, is AI. So they look and see what activities are being done by the software, what things are happening, and as it makes a kind of again, it's using AI. So I was going to say as it makes a mental image, but I don't know. I guess that is appropriate. As it kind of makes a neurological, artificial neural net image of the activities, then it begins to notice the viruses based on their activities and based on what they're doing more than on a fingerprint or signature. And that's definitely the way moving forward, you want to, whatever antivirus you're using, whether you're using Advantage Technology or another IT company, that's the system that you want to go with. Go with the AI driven model. That's definitely the best one for antivirus. Endpoint detection and response. Got to recommend Arctic Wolf for that. That's who we recommend. And you can actually now, if you're watching this and you want to learn a little bit about antivirus, about endpoint detection, anything like that, you want some more information, make sure you shoot Advantage Technology a message. Give us a call, 866-793-8232, and we can fill in all the blanks for you. I can't talk, I'm just kind of glossing over these subjects, but you can definitely contact us and we can sit down with you and give you all the details. So endpoint detection, Arctic Wolf, they have a virtual SOC, which is a security operations center. So a SOC, that's eyes on glass. Security operations center are people actually watching logs, looking at strange activity. So basically they have logging systems. They have automated computer systems, because nobody can actually set and read logs at that speed. But they have systems that will monitor things, and then if something suspicious pops up, then they actually have human beings that look at that kind of stuff, and AI and a bunch of other stuff. That's the Security Operations Center. So they're able to look at that stuff, monitor that stuff, and then act appropriately. So that's what we recommend. That's what we install. And we also, at Advantage Technology, we don't just throw Arctic Wolf on your systems and walk away. What we do is make sure that you're tall enough for the ride. In other words, that your security posture is high enough that they can take advantage of it completely. There's a lot of people that have very immature cybersecurity policies or no cybersecurity policies at all. You can put all of the fancy software you want to in the world on systems like that, and you're still going to be vulnerable. You've got to have somebody come in and evaluate your system and make sure that you're at that base level and you're able to handle and tolerate those systems. What would you recommend for a trusted password manager? That's a very good question. There was recently a leak from I don't want to mention brands at this point because this is kind of fluid. So there was recently a leak of a very popular password management system. The problem with that is changing your password. So it was actually the vaults themselves that were stolen. That's the bad thing about password managers is you have the vaults are encrypted, and even if they weren't encrypted, or even if the passwords weren't stolen, if the vault gets stolen, it can theoretically be decrypted. So the vaults were stolen. That means that it's offline at this point. Well, what does that mean? That means that it's available to hackers to try to hack. So even if you change the password, your master password on your vault, that doesn't affect that password that has already been downloaded because it's suspended at the time that it was stolen, and it's going to have that old password, which means the only realistic solution is for you to systematically go through every password in your vault and change every single one of them. Now, it's so that's kind of a bit of a horror story, but it's still very much considered the superior method for security to use a password manager, because the other ramification that you run into with password managers is the reason that they're considered so secure and so good is because what ends up happening without a password manager is you just end up using the same password for every single website. Okay? And that's way, 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 way worse. So basically, just taking human behavior into account, you're either going to use a password manager and in that password manager get randomly generated passwords, or your users are going to use password 123 for their password on every website. And, there have been a lot of behavioral studies and stuff that have looked into that. And at the end of the day, it's ultimately just safer to use a randomly generated password on every site with a password manager that's encrypted. And are there opportunities? Is it possible that could still be hacked, that it could still be stolen? Yes, that's just, that's an acceptable risk. The higher risk is that everyone just uses, happy 123 exclamation point as their password. That's way more common, and way more of a large scale risk. All right, guys, we are bumping up against our time here for today, and I do not have any more emails.